chow hall. 3 times for them hoes on the internet shitting on niggas when they really should get out more. 4 times for the days that were all bad. 5 times for the bitches who ain't called back. 6 times for the kids like me who got ADHD just to kidnap a nigga like ISIS. Whoa, turn the whole world to a crisis. Whoa, walk around the city with an ice pick. I've been paranoid, usually I ain't like this. Ain't no telling how crazy I might get. Beat the police with a nightstick. In my whole life, I've been lifeless. Now I'm so fly, I'm a motherfucking flight risk. Whoa, fuck a couple hoes till I pass out. Whoa, niggas throwing stones in my glass house. Whoa, I remember sleeping on my dad's couch. Whoa, now I got the Bentley and it's blacked out. Whoa, family looking at me like a cash cow. Whoa, everybody dissing just to have clout. Whoa, thought you had a chance, now you asked out. Nigga, I'm the motherfucking man, where you at now? Whoa, fuck it, I'ma hit him till they jumping. I ain't tripping, this is nothing. I've been living in the dungeon. I done held a couple grudges. What the hell, I got a duck to meet the devil. I'm his cousin, I ain't settling for nothing. Got the metal in the truck and keep it semi when the bustin'. Niggas ducking, niggas Stevie Wonder couldn't see it coming. I ain't judging, I just want the money. I don't need a budget. I've been hungry, I ain't got no oven, but I got the munchies. Nigga, how you gonna move on the front line? If I don't fuck with you, I just cut ties. My high school teacher said I'd never be shit. To that bitch that I turned out just fine. And no, I don't know you for the 12th time. We do not share the same bloodline. You let her run your mouth like a tough guy. Hope you keep the same energy when it's crunch time. 1 time for them praying on my downfall. 2 times for the homies in the chow hall. 3 times for them hoes on the internet shitting on niggas when they really should get out more. 4 times for the days that were all bad. 5 times for the bitches who ain't called back. 6 times for the kids like me who got ADHD.
Freeze coming out when the sun down. Hating on it, I don't give a fuck now. Bad little bitch with her tongue out. Told her go around, it's a touchdown. Do this for the city and the state. Bustin' better bring me to the safe. Want it right now, I ain't really tryna wait. Got me on trial, but I'm beating that case. Motherfucker, say it in my face. Say it in my face, motherfucker, go and say it in my face. Now everything's great. Rappers all wanna drop it down, they can even get a date. Feeling afraid of the man here. If you got a problem, no stand here. In the middle of the ocean, see the land here. In the helicopter, we gon' land here.
1 time for them praying on my downfall. 2 times for the homies in the chow hall. 3 times for them hoes on the internet shitting on niggas when they really should get out more. 4 times for the days that were all bad. 5 times for the bitches ain't called back. 6 times for the kids like me who got ADHD. Just
if I quote it, nigga, I wrote it, nigga. 6 headshots, Ollie rolled a nigga. Pop another drip and I'm reloading, nigga. Ain't no running, I'm the coldest, nigga.
Okay.
You a nigga dirty like the cold, nigga. Get you cleaned up, then I froze you, nigga. Shout out to the haters who promote a nigga. Flow hot whip cold on my road, nigga.
Recharging
And when I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for the pay cut. Bahamas 7 looking at you from the face down. Or Mac 11 even boom with the face down. Scheming, and let me tell you about my life. Painkillers only put me in the twilight. With pretty pussy and Benjamin is the highlight. I tell my mama I love her, but this what I like. Lord knows, 20 of them in my Chevy. Tell them all to come and get me, reaping everything I sow. So my karma come in heaven, no preliminary hearings on my record. I'm a motherfucking gangster in silence for the record. Tell the world I know it's too late. Was it cause I think I've gone great? Trying to side my vices all day.
Let's go this way.
Please believe when I say
1 time for them praying on my downfall. 2 times for them bitches in the South Shore. 3 times for them days on the block getting chased by the cops like a motherfucking outlaw. 4
Let's go
times
this
for them
way.
days that were all bad. 5 times for the bitches who ain't called back. 6 times for the kids like me who got ADHD. Just
Gonna need a couple hearts.
punching a tunnel.
Double homicide, kill the beat anniversary. Everybody living on the surface.
Total place.
Underground, yeah, we deserve. What's beef? Beef is when you murder motherfuckers on the beat. Kill them all, nah, nah, what's beef? Beef is brothers lying over shit that never mattered in the first place. Lying in the street, what's peace? Peace is when you leave it in the past. Let it heal like a cast. When enough time passes and you blast. Kinda like John Wick, bars like a convict. Fuck a runner, you don't wanna start shit. Woo! Coming with the hot shit. All they do is talk shit. You can never top it. Boy, just stop.
We have a drop ship coming in.
Call that HD vision. All these other motherfuckers full of indecision. And I murder with precision all over your television. I'm numero uno.
Might be something good this
way.
way.
Subdivision, never listen. We gon' leave them missing. That's the mission like ISIS. Ain't no time to figure over who the nicest. It's logic, it's obvious. Just ask the audience. I've come to body this shit. Yes, it's egregious. I'm Regis. You Kelly. You pussy. You pussy. Don't push me. I'm Louis Vuitton. You excited with your mind. On the internet, still hating on my last post. I just sent a steak back in Mastros. My God, me and Jordan need a couple hearses. Double homicide, kill the beat and the verses. Everybody living on the surface, but we came from the underground.
Hostile
Yeah, we
spotted.
from the minimum, killing them with no riddling. 5'9" was the middle.
Hostile over there.
swole, hold it like a samurai. She said, wow, look at that bubble. Must have a huge ego. I said, is it me you're aiming at? Compliment towards. She said, yes, my ninja. Please stop having this shit. Dropping them toes to my black belt. Rollers all onto the floor. Sit down, my fly. Ripped out my confidence.
We should go
One
here.
time for them praying on my downfall.
Frag out.
Phasing.
Charging shields.
Contact with hostile right here. Look out, grenade.
You know, that's what you get for stealing the Paradise Lounge's bathroom. Okay, wow, I gotta go.
LOL. Oh man, I used to play League with you. I hate League, bro. League's not a real game, bro. Who even plays that game? Also, how did my music stop? How sad.
Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or paranoia is a medical that affects an individual's ability to focus, causing them to move around more frequently.
The only way I want to play League at the moment is playing ADC. That means I need a support, preferably. Not even preferably, it has to be someone who can like tank and heal. I need to shoot. I need to shoot the guns. It's a mood. Oh, whoops. Oh, that's not a gun.
Fuck with you, I just cut ties. My high school teacher said I'd never be shit. To that bitch that I turned out just fine. And no, I don't know you for the 12th time. We do not
2020.
let her run your mouth like a tough guy. Hope you keep the same energy when it's crunch time.
Fuck it.
One time for them praying on my downfall. 2 times for the homies in the child. 3 times for them hoes on the internet shitting on niggas when they really should get out more. 4 times for the days that were all bad. 5 times for the bitches who ain't called back. 6 times for the kids like me who got ADHD.
Coming out when it's sun now. Hating on it, I don't give a fuck now.
We've only got a minute. Sniper ammo here.
Touchdown. Do this for the city and the state. Wasn't better bring me to the safe. Want it right now, I ain't really trying to wait. Got me on trial, but I'm beating that cake. Motherfucker, say it in my face. Say it in my face, motherfucker, going say it in my face. Now everything's great. Rappers all wanna drop it down, they can even get it down. Feeling great and I'm in here. If you got a problem, no stand here. In the middle of the ocean, see the land here. Helicopter, fucker, we gon' lay here.
1 time for them praying on my downfall.
We're close to the ring. 30 seconds left.
3 times for the hoes on the internet shitting on niggas when they really should get out more. 4 times for the days that were all bad. 5 times for the bitches who ain't called back. 6 times for the kids like me who got ADHD.
If I quote it, nigga, I wrote it, nigga. 6 headshots, Ollie rolled a nigga.
Contact with hostile.
That was the last of that squad. 2 squads away from a win, amigo.
Keep the shit 100 out the stolen, nigga. Tired of pony looking at me like I stole
Rings
it, nigga.
coming in.
Probably just gon' have a look around, nigga. Don't need no rolling on the know I'm getting older, nigga. Dreamville going way up like a floating, nigga. Couple hands out like I
need light ammo.
Where was you when the civic was getting told, my nigga? No snakes in the grass 'cause I'm loaded, nigga. What do you know about my pain?
Spotted a victim over there.
What do you know about my strength? And when I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for the pay cut. But I'm a savvy looking at you from the face down.
Oh my god.
And let me tell you about my life. We're pretty pussy and bigger than it's the highlight. I tell my mama I love her, but this what I like. Lord knows.
I need it.
With my Chevy, till I'm gonna come and get me, reaping everything I sow.
I'm
So my
hurt.
karma come
Losing
in
a
and no
Phoenix kid.
preliminary hearings on my record. I'm a motherfucking gangster and silence for the record. Tell the world I know it's too late. Please believe when I say
One time for them praying on my downfall. 2 times for them bitches in the South Shore. 3 times for them days on the block getting chased by the cops like a motherfucking outlaw. 4 times for them days that were all bad. 5 times for the bitches who ain't called back. 6 times for the kids like me who got ADHD. Just
Me and Jordan need a couple hearses. Double homicide, kill the beat and the verses. Everybody living on the surface, but we came from the underground. Yeah, we deserve what's beef. Beef is when you murder motherfuckers on the beat. Kill them all, nah, what's beef? Beef is brothers lying over shit that never mattered in the first place. Lying in the street, what's peace? Peace is when you leave it in the past, let it heal like a cast. When enough time passes, you blast. Kinda like John with bars like a convict. Fuck around and you don't wanna start shit. Woo! Coming with the hot shit, all they do is talk shit. You can never top it, boy, just stop. High end drunk, call that HD vision. All these other motherfuckers
Thank you.
full of indecision. And I'm murder with precision all over your television. I'm numero uno, number one, and you is just a celebration. Like ISIS. Ain't no trying to figure over who the night is. Audience, I've come to buy this shit. Louis Vuitton, you in Target with your mom. On the internet, still hating on my outpost. I'm just in the state back in Mexico. My God, I need a couple hearses. Everybody living on the surface,
Enemy down.
but we came from the underground.
This won't
Yeah,
hurt.
we deserve
Hold
it.
on.
Far from the minimum, killing them with no riddling. 5'9" with the middle in it, get them in the same room. Now we on the same tune and we feel the game doomed. The illest of them
1 second. We got this.
rap pack, clap
Heads
back
up.
on the
The
game.
ring's moving.
That I sold out 3 times for the street crimes that I committed. Yeah, I did it, but thank God that I made it out. 4 times 'cause I'm a fucking bastard.
Safe to
5
say.
times platinum with
You
my
got the kill leader.
Nice work.
You are the Apex champions.
Then she pulled out the condom and drawer. She must have heard this is where the condoms get stored. Sign above the door to the sauna says, welcome to Sodom and Gomorrah. Told her I got something for her. Sharp and it's pointed, and its head's on swole. Hold it like a samurai. She said, wow, look at that boast. Must have a huge ego. I said, is it me you're aiming that compliment towards? She said, yes, my ninja. Please get to stabbing this shit. I commenced to dropping them drawers through my black belt and gauntlets all onto the floor. Sit down, my fly, whipped out my confidence.
1 time for them praying on my downfall.
2 times for the garden that I sold out.
3 times for them hoes on the internet shitting on niggas when they really should get out more.
4 times 'cause I'm a fucking bastard.
5 times for the bitches who ain't called back.
6 times for the beats and the rhymes. Fuck the heat and the crime. Keep the peace like a waistline.
A race pack? What the fuck is a race pack? $6 to think about it. What's this have? Oh. If I were to get one, it might as well be this, huh? Then again, what's this? Oh, that's stupid. Nobody wants that. Yes, my ninja.
I used to go by the name Hope, which is something you've lost.
I used to run.
I used to run.
Requires patience and ingenuity. Let's just say these skills cross credit.
Excuse cross credit. What the fuck that means? 100. Okay. 200. 300. 400. 500. 600.
Oh, Denny feels so bad.
If only my younger...
If only my younger self, blah blah blah. Scooby-Dooby-Doo. That's what I have to say about this. Scooby-fuck-Dooby-Doo. I got one knockdown that whole time? You kidding me? Yaldi. All the hard work I do, and I get one. One! I'll be right back. Put on my way. Alright.
Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or better known as ADHD, is a mental disorder that affects an individual's ability to focus, causing them to move around more frequently. They may also have trouble controlling their impulsive behaviors.
One time for them praying on my downfall. 2 times for the homies in the child hall. 3 times
Oh, I see. That's a lot of fucking packs, jeez. $50? Kidding? Nobody want to pay no fucking $50. Huh? Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
fly, I'm a motherfucking flight risk. Whoa, fuck a couple hoes till I pass out.
Whoa.
Niggas throwing stones in my glass house.
Whoa.
I remember sleeping on my dad's couch.
Whoa.
Now I got the Bentley and it's blacked out.
Whoa.
Family looking at me like a cash cow. Whoa. Everybody dissing just to have clout. Whoa. Thought you had a chance, now you asked out. Nigga, on the motherfucking
USL.
fucking, I'ma hit him till they jumping. I ain't tripping, this is nothing. I've been living in it.
Bruh, bah, bah.
Couple grudges, what the hell? I got a jack to meet the devil. I'm a cousin. I ain't settling for nothing. Got the middle in the truck and keep the semi when the bus.
You know, I don't take myself too seriously. I don't take myself anywhere, really. I need to get out more.
Science don't sleep. And neither do we, right, Newt?
Let's go find them all.
Introducing your champion.
I'm not a pawn. I'm here to break the game.
I'm the jump master. This time.
Bruh, bah, bah.
Supply ship over there.
That's nice.
We could land here.
Copy that.
Hi, friends.
Yes. Need it. Dropping in. Hang on. I don't fear anything. Can you say the same?
Shall we head this way?
Here goes nothing. Might be something good this way.
Hey now, another squad coming in.
Reload. He went straight down.
Reloading. Bam! Bam. Guess I'm running out of ideas. Shots fired and they're hitting me. Reloading. Oh, someone got the party started.
Rejuvenating.
Listen, let's move here.
Taking damage.
Using the decoy escape.
We spot a border. Me and you are down. Pulling it on top of us.
I'm on the way. Stay calm.
One sec, healing up.
They spotted me. I'm taking shots. Frag out. Fire. Blazing.
Nah, what's big? Boy, just stop it. ISIS. My God!
becoming what I used to make fun of. Smoke son of a bitch fucking dope. Don't put a fucking jug in her. Leave him in a pot on her. Blood him, kill a bun him, run up the others bloody glove in her. Prison yard, Jody area, yes, I'm coming for.
I'm ready. Let's get the job done.
Ahead, we talk of victory and slaughter.
Trust me, I know what I'm doing. This is your champion. I'm the jump master. This time. Let's land here. Here we go. Ready up. Let's do this.
Going to check out over there.
Bro, come on. Fucking retarded.
Round 1. Beginning ring countdown.
Why is this not going?
Attention. First blood.
Oops. Oops.
Attention. There is a new kill leader.
New kill leader. Go on, watch out.
5 times for the bitches who ain't called back. 6 times for the kids like me who got ADHD. Just kidnap a nigga like ISIS. Whoa. Turn the whole world to a crisis. Whoa. Walk around the city with an ice pick. I'm paranoid. Usually I ain't like this.
Bruh, buh, buh.
How crazy I might get. Beat the police with a nice stick. In my whole life I've been like this. Now I'm so fly, I'm a motherfucking flight risk. Whoa. Took a couple hoes till I pass out. Whoa. Niggas throwing stones at my glass house. Whoa. I remember sleeping on my dad's couch. Whoa. Now I got the Bentley and it's blacked out. Whoa. Family looking at me like a cash cow. Whoa. Everybody dissing just to have clout. Whoa. Thought you had a chance, now you asked out. Nigga, I'm the motherfucking man. Where you at now? Whoa. Fuck it, I'ma hit them till they jumping. I ain't tripping. This is nothing. I've been living in the dungeon. I done held a couple grudges. What the hell? I got a jack to meet the devil. I'm a cousin. I ain't settling for nothing. Got a medal in the truck and keep it semi when the pussy niggas jumping. Stevie Wonder couldn't see it coming. I ain't judging. I just want the money. I don't need a budget. I've been hungry. I ain't got no oven, but I got the munchies. Nigga, how you gonna move on the front line? If I don't fuck with you, I can cut ties. My high school teacher said I'd never be shit. To that bitch that I turned out just fine. You know I don't know you for the 12th time. We do not share the same bloodline. You let her run your mouth like a tough guy. Hope you keep the same energy when it's crunch time.
Let's explore this way.
1 time for them praying on my downfall. 2 times for the homies in the child hall. 3 times for them hoes on the internet shitting on niggas when they really should get out more. 4 times for the days that were all bad. 5 times for the bitches who ain't called back. 6 times for the kids like me who got ADHD.
Coming out when the sun down. Hating on it, I don't give a fuck now. Bitch with a tongue out. Told her go around, this a touchdown. Do this for the city and the state. Bustin' better bring me to the safe. Want it right now, I ain't really tryna wait. Got me on trial, but I'm beating that case. Motherfucker, say it in my face. Say it in my face, motherfucker, go. Say it in my face now, everything's straight. Rabbits all
Attention. There is a new kill leader.
Heads up. New kill leader.
Warning. Ring movement in progress.
Whoop.
Good. Got my ultimate ready.
For the kids like me who got ADHD. If I quote it, nigga, I wrote it, nigga. 6 headshots, Ollie rolled a nigga. Pop another clip and I'm reloaded, nigga. Ain't no way around it, I'm the coldest, nigga. You a nigga dirty like you told my nigga. Get your clean up.
Come and get your birthday present.
To those who need it, there is an extended energy mag here. Level 1.
Care package being delivered.
Care package on high.
Okay.
And when I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for the pay cut. Bahamas.
Scanning the area.
I'm at 11, you can boom with the face down. Scheming, and let me tell you about my life. Painkillers only put me in the twilight. But pretty pussy and Benjamin is the highlight. I tell my mama I love her, but this what I like. Lord knows. 20 of them in my Chevy, tell them all to come and get me. Reason everything I sold, so my karma come in heaven. No preliminary hearing, so my record, I'm a motherfucking gangster. Silence for the record. Tell the world I know it's too late. Both because I think I've gone great. Trying to side my crisis all day. Won't you please believe when I say
1 time for them praying on my downfall. 2 times for them bitches in the South Shore. 3 times for them days on the block getting chased by the cops like a motherfucker outlaw. 4 times for them days that were all bad. 5 times.
Punching a tunnel.
But we came from the underground, yeah, we deserve what's beef.
Enemy killed.
Need to recharge my shields. Arcstar out. Taking shots.
That's pretty terrible.
Got trouble here.
God, apparently I can't get one single knockdown.
Your heart's not beating. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
That's really funny.
Then she pulled out the and its head's on swole, holding like a samurai. She said, wow, look at that bulge, must have a huge ego. I said, is it me you're aiming that compliment towards? She said, yes, my ninja, please get to stabbing this shit. I commenced to dropping them chores through my black belt and gauntlets all onto the floor. Sit down my fly, whipped out my confidence sword.
1 time for them praying on my downfall.
2 times for the garden that I sold out.
3 times for them hoes on the internet shitting on niggas when they really should get out more.
What?
5 times for the bitches who ain't called back.
6 times for the beats and the rhymes. Fuck the heat and the crime. Keep the peace like a waistline.
Wow. Allow us to just take a second and appreciate the mere fact that we did not wake up this morning, look in the mirror, and find ourselves to be that woman. Girl, Allow me to teach you some valuable lessons in life, okay? You might want to write it down, put it in your little purse, and take it with you. It might make you a better person, but probably not. Number one, you realize that body positivity is not just for women, right? Are you simple, or did you just forget that? Like, could you imagine if a dude popped up and was like, yo, fuck these women and their tiny titties? Greasy-faced women like you would be all over that, wouldn't you? Lesson number two, you're going to find yourself wildly disappointed in life if you don't figure out how to communicate to men what you want in the bedroom. I'm sorry, baby girl, but like, they're not mind readers. And I find it really funny how women are always bitching about how men need to stop treating us like we're all the same, but yet we expect them to do that in the bedroom. We're not going to communicate to them our needs. We're just going to assume that they already know, because all women are the same, right? Lesson number three, you are going to find yourself even more disappointed in life. You know why? Number one, because you're a terrible person. So you can put that makeup on, those eyelashes, but baby girl, makeup does not cover the ugly that you have growing inside of you. If you spend your whole life chasing big dick, guess what, baby? Those men are gonna be using you the exact same way that you are using them, because you do not have the heart or the personality to keep a
Or
good
not.
man. And that is facts. You sit on the internet, you use men for their bodies, you brag about it with your disgusting spider eyelashes, and you think that you're cool. You rally with toxic women that don't respect body positivity, that don't respect men's bodies. You're disgusting. Did I fucking stutter? Learn some lessons, get some class, grow up, and for the love of God, wash your
Let
fucking
us
face.
hunt those who have fallen to darkness.
Wait, what? Where's the video? Oh.
Wow. Allow us to just take a second and appreciate the mere fact that we did not wake up this morning, look in the mirror, and find ourselves to be that woman.
Okay, I get it. Sheesh. You are no longer well rested.
How much do you think sleep schedule impacts mental health? Huge. So, if you look at sleep, sleep is the one symptom that I think is impacted by every single mental health diagnosis, for the most part, if I'm remembering that correctly. So I remember looking at, sort of like each mental, it's the most common element, if not every single one, it is the most common. Sleep disturbance is the symptom that is the most common across all mental illnesses. So the way that I understand that is like sleep is the time that your mind and brain use to like repair itself or heal. And so when your sleep is impaired, your healing function is impaired, and so it propagates mental illness. Do you tell your patients to sleep? Generally speaking, that is not something I say to them. I don't say to them, sleep. What I will do is ask them how their sleep is, and I will try to help them sleep healthier. Because exactly, like people are saying, just sleep doesn't work. Okay, so here's a couple tips on sleep. 3 quick tips. First of all, if you want to control your sleep schedule, it's not about bedtime, it's about waking up time. It is far easier, well, I'm not saying it's easier, it's far easier to wake up when you're tired than it is to go to sleep when you're not. So if you're trying to control your sleep schedule, you're in for 48 to 72 hours of rough wake up. Okay? So I'd say that what y'all should do is set an alarm, set it loud, and set it outside of hand reach. Ideally, like outside your door with the door open. So when it rings, you have to get up and physically get out of bed. Bonus points, if you can splash your face with a little bit of water, it'll help you wake up. By all means, if you guys drink caffeine, do that. Control your waking up in order to control your sleep. But I just go back. So that's where so you have to learn how to not do that, right? So notice that you just want to go back. And then as you're going back to bed, ask yourself, do I want to fix my sleep schedule? If the answer to that question is yes, you can't, well, not do I want to. What matters to me more? Fixing my sleep schedule or going back to bed now? Try to ask yourself that question. Second thought is screen time and blue light inhibit melatonin production. So ideally, 2 hours before you try to fall asleep, you want no access to screens. So physiologically, it's going to be easier to sleep because your melatonin will start pumping, and then it'll like physiologically literally be easier to sleep. Third thing is a bedtime routine is very, very helpful for sleep. So you can train your body and your mind to fall asleep at a particular time, like in a very Pavlovian way. 2 hours, but I'm addicted. Yeah, it's hard, dude. I'm not gonna lie. So that's why there's a reason I started with number 1 first. Because if you're tired enough, so what we want to do, so getting a good sleep schedule is all about harnessing the power of fatigue. So that's what I recommend, especially to gamers. So we're not gonna we're gonna use fatigue as our gravity to fall asleep. So the more you can increase your fatigue, the easier it will be to get on a good sleep schedule. You can read a book, absolutely. You just don't want blue wavelength of light. So audiobook is good, book is good. Exercise if you guys feel like it. Stretch, do yoga, all that stuff is fantastic.
Minions have
I think e-ink is actually okay. Yawn. So it's funny that you guys mentioned this because literally today I'm starting the process of resetting my sleep schedule. So I woke up this morning about 3 hours earlier than I usually do. So I'm resetting my sleep schedule as we speak. So now I'm already tired. I'm going to be ready for bed in 4 hours. I've recently enrolled in school. Yes, that is correct. So the solution was when you play in your region, how do you feel about the people in the games that you're in? And he's like, they're dog shit. And I told him, as long as you treat them like dog shit, you will be treated like, you will think that you are dog shit, because that's the construction. That's the play that your mind enacts. I recently discovered that a lot of the emotions I felt in the past can be described as fear of missing out or FOMO. I don't know if there's a mental health equivalent. I've had the hardest time trying to describe this feeling, and I've always defaulted to envy that wasn't always true. I get FOMO from people doing stuff I don't even care about or want, and it's borderline debilitating. I've ended friendships because of the life they live and how much it scared me and upset me that they were living more life than me, even though I didn't care to have that particular thing. I recently pledged to myself to live more and improve, doing more and experiencing stuff I haven't experienced before. But I still get this absolutely heartbreaking feeling that others are somehow enjoying it more than me, and I get angry at myself for not enjoying myself or finding satisfaction in things. It's a vicious cycle that keeps feeding in on itself and causing me to want to give up even trying. I think if I was somehow able to find the real satisfaction in things I'd be less likely to feel dwarfed by other people's experiences. Oh man. I feel like each of these could be an hour-long lesson for that. The fear of missing out is a really interesting challenge, and I think once again, it's like an umbrella term that may have multiple roots to it, okay? The first thing that I'm going to share with you guys is actually from yoga. So it's a really interesting passage from, I forget which Upanishad, maybe the Taittiriya Upanishad, that talks about proximal emotions and distal emotions. So what the yogis realized is that there's a set of emotions that we feel that are more acceptable, that actually have underlying more toxic emotions underneath. So envy can actually be the proximal emotion. It's I feel happy for someone. I wish I was like that. And underneath that can actually be anger or hatred. So it's kind of really interesting, because I'm not surprised that we see, if you guys paid attention to the case, right, the further down we go, the more we get to hatred. So interestingly enough, when you're dealing with these proximal emotions and distal emotions, the acceptable emotion, which is envy, it's okay to be envious of someone, right? I wish I had that. It's less okay to be I hate that person for having And so the interesting thing is that, you know, a lot of this could come from dealing with your hatred. So, like, do you hate those people? Like, do you hate people who have more than you? What is it like that other people have had more than you and you have not? So I would ask this person, if you have FOMO and you kind of feel envious of other people, ask yourself, like, step one, underneath the envy, is there hatred? And like, how do you, because a lot of times, like, we don't want to hate our friends, right? Like, it's very conflicting internally. It's very dystonic.
An enemy has been slain.
So we don't let ourselves feel that. And since we don't let ourselves feel that, it never goes away. It just stays there. It lingers. It's the trash can that's rotting in the corner that you never let yourself look at because you never explore it. And so it kind of like fuels this stuff. That's number one. Okay? So explore for hatred underneath. The second thing is to start to think a little bit about, like, when did you miss out, right? So now we're going to take the Samskar approach. So, like, if I was talking to this person in an interview, what I would kind of ask them is, like, when did you start missing out in life? What does it kind of feel like to miss out? Like, have there been times in your life where, like, you know, there was someone who, like, got something that you didn't have? And, like, there was, like, the person who was happy, and then there was, like, you who was, like, neglected, and you really wanted to be that person. And explore that stuff. That's how you may find the root of it. Okay, so to ask yourself, when did you start missing out? When was the first time that you felt FOMO really, really powerfully? And forget about social media. Because chances are it has, like, it may be something from your personal life, maybe something when you were young, like your parents took your sibling on a trip and they left you behind, like, something like that. Okay? The third thing is that social media makes FOMO worse, right? So, like, social media creates a system for our brain that is busted. So if I have 30 friends on Facebook, the stuff that Facebook is going to populate my feed with is the stuff that gets the most likes. So person number one has a birthday. Bunch of likes, bunch of comments, I see that. Person number two the next day goes on vacation. Person number three has a baby. Person number four graduates from college. Person number five wins an award. Person number six gets engaged. Person number seven gets a promotion. Person number eight has a big surprise party that their parents throw for them. Person number 10 gets a gift from their parents, gets a brand new car. And what happens is our mind sees all of these, like, high points from 30 different people's lives. And then what we see appears to be like this glut of a perfect life. Because our brain doesn't really process that, like, for every post this person makes, that they get 1,000 likes, they make 1,000 posts that get 1 like. What your brain sees is the 1,000 posts that you make that get 1 like. So this kind of FOMO phenomenon is, like, very clearly tied to social media and, like, is almost predatory in terms of the way that it, like, you know, enhances this feeling. So there is this stuff about, you know, envy and hatred. There's absolutely finding the roots of it. And then there's, like, what propagates the phenomenon of FOMO in your life? What builds up FOMO? Despite the roots, what's the fertilizer we're throwing? What's the fuel, what's the gasoline that we're pouring on top of the fire? The fire's there. The fire's there because of deep yogic roots and past experiences in your life. And then social media is the gasoline. So this is where people say, just get off social media, which is challenging for any number of reasons. But my experience has been that just getting off of social media doesn't fix the problem. That's the boomer solution. Just stop it. No, like, people had FOMO and envy and hatred and jealousy far before social media. Social media making it worse? Is it aggravating it? Absolutely. Right? But then there's also, like, the roots of the problem that you kind of have to get to. So what I'd say to this person, and if you're kind of thinking about FOMO, right, is that, like, it's normal to have FOMO. It's important to understand that social media is going to exacerbate it. But really ask yourself, what are the underlying emotions that are, like, driving my feeling of FOMO? And then the fourth thing that they said, which I think makes perfect sense, is if I'm able to somehow find real satisfaction in things I do, I'd be less likely to feel dwarfed by other people's experiences. That person's precisely correct, but it's the other way around. You will never find real satisfaction in things as long as you are comparing based on other people. The way to find real satisfaction in things is to let go of comparison. And so as long as your mind looks at someone else and says this person is better or worse than me, you will never find satisfaction or happiness. And this is the really tricky thing. So the last thing, if you the secret of FOMO, okay, if you want to really unplug FOMO, there's one tiny psychological life hack, as much as I detest the term, that you can use that will actually disarm FOMO. And that is you feeling superior to other people in particular situations. So as long as you let yourself feel superior to others, the reverse of that will happen to you. You will feel inferior. So letting go of your feelings of inferiority, start by letting go of your feelings of superiority. I was working with a professional player from a particular region in a particular sport. This person is very good, was very high up in their region, and traveled and would boot camp in a different region that is known to be a quote-unquote stronger region. And he would find himself in pub games with other people who were like the top players for that region. And he felt like, his words literally, dog shit playing with them. Any mistake he made, he would feel like, oh my god, like these epic players that I've looked up to my entire life must think that I am dog shit. He would think that, and he would ask me, like, how do I let go of this? Like, I just can't play with these people. It's really messing up my mental. So the solution was, when you play in your region, how do you feel about the people in the games that you're with? And he's like, they're dog shit. And I told him, as long as you treat them like dog shit, you will be treated like, you will think that you are dog shit, because that's the construction. That's the play that your mind enacts. And as long as you're feeling superior, it's just the flip side of the coin. And so it's interesting, because he's gotten a lot better. Right? Like, he's like, oh, like, the less judgmental he's become, the less superior he feels, right? Towards those people, like, actually, like, he has gotten way better. And his performance has actually objectively improved, and he has been placing higher in international events. So the last thing about FOMO is, if you feel inferior to other people, you can also disarm the feeling of superiority. Notice that. Why do I feel better than this person? As you explore that, you will actually deflate the inferiority with it. It's both, it's all ego, ahamkara, right? So the ahamkara, so we'll just summarize with like Sanskrit, maybe it goes back to yoga. The ahamkara is the I feeling. It compares. As long as the ahamkara is active, you're going to be making comparisons. The sense of identity, the me, the I'm a doctor, I went to Harvard. In my mind, every time I say I went to Harvard, my mind is drawing a comparison to everyone who did it. It makes me feel a little bit superior. So I have to notice that each and every time. And as long as I notice that and I say, actually, you're not better than anyone else. Like, just RNG, baby. You just lucked out. Like, literally, it was RNG. Right? And so as long as you're feeling superior to other people, you're going to be feeling inferior somewhere else. It's because equality is equality, man. Like, you can't, if you're not equal, you're not equal. And that's going to come with superiority and inferiority. How to not feel guilty about your successful RNG? Like, it's RNG, dude. Just appreciate it. Just. So it can be challenging. That's another thing. So when you say how to not feel guilty about your successful RNG, it's not about the RNG, it's about the feeling of guilt. So the question is, like, why does your mind find something to feel guilty about? Just can't chill. That's what you need to work on. Forget about the RNG. You can. This is the problem, is that a lot of people look at the object that their mind looks at instead of the way that their mind looks at it. Like a case of the what ifs. Right? Like a case of the shoulda, woulda, couldas. I should have done this, I could have done this, I would have done this. And your mind is always thinking like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done this, I should have done this. Why is your mind producing the should thoughts to begin with? That's what you need to focus on. You should focus on why your mind is focusing on should. Yeah, I love this quote from Billy Fanboy. There's nothing, from Ernest Hemingway. There's nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self. Beautiful.
Beware.
I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I make fewer boomer mistakes.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Oh, I do. I was just about to. So welcome everyone. So I think maybe what we'll do is, so I understand we're going to be talking about setting boundaries and potentially the friend zone. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I noticed that there was a pretty lively discussion ahead of time, but I haven't read it.
Yeah.
Just a couple of things. So what we'll do is we'll start with introductions, and we'll also kind of do like a sound check at the same time. And then, yeah, we'll kind of see where things take us. Just a quick disclaimer, I tend to say you guys, which I don't mean to offend anyone. So I sort of use it in a gender neutral way, which maybe is part of the problem, but forgive me, I'll do my best. So let's go ahead and let's get started with introductions. So why don't we start with intuitive cues?
Okay. Really excited to do
Awesome. And I'm sorry, what was your name?
Alyssa.
Alyssa. Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome, Alyssa. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Linda?
Well, hi. Yeah, I'm Linda. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Welcome, Linda.
You have been slain.
Math of the Valley?
Yeah, hi. My name is Matt. I'm a student and I'm 19 years old, and I can come here with more of a perspective of someone who hasn't had many things happen to her, but the few experiences I've had are bad enough that I want to speak about it. And I also want to speak as a few, like, I want to speak stories that my friends went through as well.
Okay, wow. That's, I don't know if that's fortunate or unfortunate that on the one hand, you guys devastated a whole lot, but it sounds like a
Yeah.
bad Sorry for that. Thanks for that. Saka?
Yeah, my name is Lisa. I'm 24 years old. I'm currently working as a content manager in the Concept Happy Resourcing. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this conversation. All the ladies here has been extremely supportive and wonderful, and I think that this is a great conversation for everyone to kind of have more insights about.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I think we're really here to learn. I think most of our community, although that's changing. So I think when we started streaming, it was like 95 to 90%. 5 to 7. Closer to 7. And so, hopefully you can learn a lot. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Star Sleeps.
Yeah, you can just call me Star.
Okay.
I'm 22. I'm an artist here on Twitch, but I'm also a student studying engineering. So I've had some stories in both of those categories that we can get into.
Oh, interesting. So
Unfortunately.
real life stories and the internet stories?
Yeah.
Okay. That also, I don't know, I mean, that sounds actually unfortunate because it sounds like there's nowhere to escape to.
Evil lurks around
I just
every corner.
stay in bed, I guess.
Champaloo?
Rampage should fear me.
Business admin student. I have also experiences in real life and online, and I think this is a really relevant.
An ally has been slain.
Thing to know, like a lot of setting boundaries. Yeah, and
The shadows are to be
I just want to
feared.
spread that AOE healing for all you guys.
Thank you
know,
so
I hope we can learn from that.
Yeah. So let me ask y'all, just to start off. So first of all, thank you all for coming. I'm trying to debate a little bit about how do we want to approach this discussion. So, Champ said this is an important thing to talk about, and I'm wondering whether we should start by defining what is this. Or if we just want to jump right into like an actual experience, what do you guys think would be like better to do first?
I like the definition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Define
Define
it.
it.
I didn't even know what boundaries were, so I'm sure a lot of people talk about right
So
too.
what does that mean? So remember that like there's a group of people who are watching, and maybe hundreds of thousands more will watch on YouTube one day. And I don't know. I know there's a sort of presumption that we're going to be talking about female-male boundaries, but this could apply beyond that. There's and also, I think we're going to sort of take a default heteronormative approach, which we don't necessarily have to. But in my experience, boundaries, it doesn't matter whether you're heterosexual or bisexual or something in between. Boundaries are boundaries. It doesn't matter what gender you are. And so, yeah, it sounded like, Star, you wanted to say something?
Oh no, I waved because you said potentially hundreds of thousands of people, and I was like, no, hundreds of thousands of people.
Okay. So what is this? How do we define, what are we talking about?
Yeah, go ahead.
Today we're talking about boundaries. So boundaries can affect in a lot of different parts of the life. So with your partners, you have to talk about like what you're okay with each other like are doing. But outside of partners too, it's even more than that, right? Like if you have friends, you have people that you just meet online. So like what are some stuff that you're comfortable talking with them about, how you interact with them? Every person is different, and this is the type of communication that's so important to have that most people don't. People just assume certain things that is okay from another person, do those things, and then make others uncomfortable. So that's why this is such an important conversation to have, especially with COVID going on. There's so much online interactions right now, so just kind of learning how to define this boundary that you have between people through online would be really helpful.
And strangers in the street as well. Like a lot of people in the street think just because you don't know the person, it's okay to step out of the boundary. It's not like it's. I think it's in online friends and strangers. Yeah.
Okay. So how is
So in order for somebody to know, you should be treated with communicate that to them in a way where they'll
understand. But unfortunately, I have had more cases of strangers, of people that I don't really talk to, and it's really hard to communicate with someone you just met like 2 seconds ago. So I think it's also just common sense in what you should or shouldn't do. But when you have that close relationship with someone, yes, like they should be more established.
Okay.
Also, what I think is confused a lot is like when you finally set your boundaries, there are still some people who are entitled to deflate those boundaries. That they know better what to tell you what is right and wrong. Like, oh no, this is actually not that bad. Or, oh, this is, don't make a scene out of this. Right? But I think what it's all about is
motivate someone to try to deflate their boundary?
Ego.
I smell.
What is that?
I think a lot of people don't like being told something, don't like being told that they were doing something wrong, and out of ego, they try to deflate you and what makes you comfortable. Or,
Okay.
yeah.
Linda?
I think maybe a lot of people also just don't think that things apply to them because they like try to read you and then they assume that they're special for some reason, so that the boundaries just don't apply to them anymore for some reason.
Interesting.
Okay.
I think it could also be a power dynamic, because I've experienced that at work and in relationships too, because when people feel like they have a certain authority over you, it's almost like they're setting the boundaries, not necessarily listening to yours. So it makes it hard to communicate and be just out of fear that this
but it's not to just activate random outcomes. At the same time, so when we think about, so I think setting boundaries is really important. It's a lot of what I try to educate people on. At the same time, when it comes especially to romantic relationships, I think a lot of romantic relationships thrive with a lack of boundaries. Right, so I'm trying to figure out, like, if you think about flirtation, so flirtation is almost like kind of by definition not saying every corner.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why so it's just a different perspective. Y'all are welcome to disagree or sort of educate us on like how that isn't the case. But I just know I'm actually thinking about, you know, when my wife and I got together, like we were apparently dating and I wasn't even aware of it. I thought I was just showing her around town. She thought we were going on dates, and there was a lot of, you know, confusion there.
Yeah.
And I think, frankly, I probably would have done a far worse job if I thought I was on a date. I thought we were just hanging out. And so sometimes when I do look at relationships, sometimes things are a little bit ambiguous, right? So like, at what point do you set a boundary with someone about like what your relationship is? Like, do you meet someone and say, hello, I'm so-and-so, I'm single and I'm not looking for a relationship? Nice to meet you. You know,
when you meet people online, kind of yes, to be honest.
So it's actually a genuine question, right? So like I get what you guys are saying about the value of setting what your limits are. Completely agree with that. The thing that I'm a little bit confused about, and I imagine our community is confused about, is like when and how do you actually?
In my experience, and I don't think this is like the best way to do it, but in my experience, most of those conversations have happened like after someone's crossed a boundary, and you have to like go back and be like, hey, sorry that I gave you the wrong idea. I'm not in love with you, you know?
Yeah.
Or whatever it might be.
And that's a huge problem, right? Is because like there's a lack of set of boundaries, and then you get into a situation where there's confusion on both sides. And so what I'm kind of like really curious about is part of what we try to do on stream is to make things applicable. And what I'm envisioning is like if I'm a 17-year-old kid watching the stream, what can I learn from y'all about how I interact with like
and also that's in the start, we don't go out and just be like, I'm single and I'm talking to you because I'm interested. Like that's just not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like obviously a lot of interactive practice and maybe that person is free. You don't know, you're confused. So after hanging out, ask them, be like, hey, like I just want to make sure I'm not taking the wrong turns. Like, is this that? Whenever you're unsure about anything at all regarding you and another person, it's so scary for that confrontation, but you just have to go and ask.
Okay. So scary
Yeah.
for the confrontation. I think that's a really important point.
Yeah. And also, at least in my experience, I think that part of if you don't want if you're scared to communicate and you might step a boundary, I think it should only happen when you know for sure you're already very comfortable with that. I think like if you already have a little bit of not trust, like friendship with that person, you already know them well. The person you didn't come in like trying to immediately step on the boundary. Then like if you have that trust, then at least in my case, if I already trust someone, if they set the boundary, and I think I like if I have like a responsive with the same way they're coming towards me, I will be comfortable with it because I already trust them. But I think a lot of people step the boundary.
So I'm seeing a bunch of it's not that we're sometimes the boundary conversation happens and oddly enough, I can kind of see how Math and Star kind of maybe talking about something that's similar, which is that you start a relationship, you're not sure exactly where the boundary is, you start to develop like friendship and trust, and then maybe they think it's one thing, you think it's another thing, you kind of cross that boundary, and then you have a conversation about it. Although that doesn't really sound ideal, but I'm sort of seeing value to not having the conversation the first time you meet someone, and also like that seems too early. And then in Star's case, it seems like some of those conversations happen way too late.
Your inhibitor
And so,
is respawning
how do
soon.
we find that medium? And I think that's something practically that at the end of today, if we could sort of have some guidance around that, I think that would be a really cool, like, take. What do y'all think?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So does anybody want to, like, let's dive in. Does anybody want to share, like, a situation that they've been in? I kind of want to hear from Star.
In the dark.
Which one? Which side?
I don't know. I'm just trolling you. So, seriously, anyone want to... I mean, I do want to hear from you, but I didn't need to put you on the spot.
No, you're good.
You see, guys, what I did there is I tested a boundary. I was, like, asking, oh, is Star, is it okay if we start with you? But does anybody feel like they want to share a situation?
Later, I think if she goes first, it's okay.
I have, so mine gets into power dynamics. I had a situation, I guess I could say, with a professor.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, like,
I mean,
don't
I'm
know
laughing
how
because I'm
comfortable this
uncomfortable.
is gonna be. Same,
I mean,
I don't
like,
know.
Look, we're here to talk about real experiences. So the one thing that I strongly recommend is recognize that the
No, you're okay. I've already been some stuff with my school regarding the incident, but basically, yeah, basically I'm an engineering student, and your like first 2 years of engineering, they kind of make you take classes in every field to get you like up to speed on the different industries. And so I had a professor that wasn't really in my major. I'm mechanical and he was an electrical engineering professor. And he was like, hey, like, I think you should come and work in my lab, which is like a huge opportunity for a student, right? And especially like, I definitely wasn't qualified, right? Like I'd taken one electrical engineering class at this point and I had like a B in it, I think. And so like, he sort of had experience there, right? And so I went out to his lab once. It was just kind of uncomfortable. He like hugged me when I got there and like put his hand on my waist while he was showing me around the lab and stuff. And I was like, okay, not going back there, right? Like, but I was then put in a situation where like I have to go back to classes, right? Like I have to continue to be, you know, like I can't, like if it was outside of school I could be like fuck off, you know, but with a professor I don't really have that opportunity. And so it was just like he got my number to like, I don't know why I fucking gave him my number in hindsight, but I gave him my number to like coordinate when I would be at the lab. And he would text me like, hey, like, what are you doing today? You want to come out to the lab? And I'd have to like 12 times in a row I had to come up with some excuse because I didn't want to say no to a professor that like had my grade, you know?
I'm processing.
That's fair.
How old
Like 50.
What do y'all think about that?
Shut down.
Just the whole situation.
Makes me uncomfortable hearing about.
It is really uncomfortable, but it's also not surprising, which is, I think, the more like it doesn't even really shake you anymore. It's almost like you're used to listening to stuff like that.
Linda, what's not surprising about it?
That the situation happened. Like, it feels so normal to hear about these things almost to a point where it doesn't.
In the dark, all is laid
Almost like,
bare.
oh, you too?
Yeah.
What should
Yeah.
happen? That.
I mean, to be fair, that kind of behavior overstep boundaries, and it's just predatory. Like,
What's the
real professor was trying to have this type of relationship or conversation with a student who is much younger than he is, so yeah, there's the power dynamic there with the profession, obviously, and then also the setting of where all of this is taking place as well.
Yeah. I also have a story about more of this power dynamic that happened to a friend of mine. She was being followed by a man, and yeah, she was being followed by a man, and she went to the police. I went with her the first time, then we had to go to another place.
Just speaking to me for 5 minutes, and they were like doing statements like, yeah, no, for sure, you're my dream wife, whatever. And I'm like, you don't even know me. You don't know, maybe I'm a terrible person. Like, maybe what you heard in those 5 minutes is not even me. Like, how can you tell me that? Like, I don't want to be like, I don't want to have this confirmation of like men telling me that I am their fantasy after 5 minute talking. Like, are you even interested to understand me, to know me? See, tell me.
Right?
Right.